Dear Lord, as we gather for this meeting, we ask for your blessing on our teamwork. Help us to collaborate effectively, respecting each other's ideas and contributions. May we work together in harmony, striving towards common goals. Let our teamwork reflect your love and unity, and may our collective efforts bring glory to your name. We remember those that have lost everything in the recent storms that blew through Missouri and throughout the eastern seaboard. Give them the hope to rebuild their lives and the prosperity to make it happen. We also ask for a special blessing on our astronauts that safely return, that they make it safely home to Houston and resume their lives. And we ask all this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right. Thank you for that. Doesn't look like we have any comments from the public tonight.
No.
Okay. Any adjustments? You can go. No. You don't have any? Okay. Okay, well, then we're at the consent. Gene, you don't have any adjustments, right?
No.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, we'll go to the,
Consent agenda, I'd like to move that we approve 6, 7, and 8 and pull the minutes. So let me first make the motion on 6, 7, 8, see if anyone else has issues on that. So I have a motion at 6, 7, and 8.
second,
Okay.
all in favor? I approve.
Okay,
then
on
these
number
minutes.
5, there's under 16, it says that we agreed that if the vote at the trustee level differs from what the MUD board directed, the MUD 47 will attempt to table the vote. And so I didn't think that was true because we did discuss that, but I wasn't for that because if you abstain, it's with a 5-5 vote, it doesn't work in our favor. So when I went back and looked at the video, what we resolved to do was nothing. And so I would like to change that to point out that we didn't agree to just abstain. So if you guys are good with that change, which I'm hoping you are because I watched the video, I need a second for my motion to change that. Okay.
Okay, all in favor of the change to item 16 of the.
I have a question, yeah, or
Yeah.
maybe it's a comment. So the scenario is there won't be abstention. It will, the trustee must vote with it however we directed him.
Well, my change is that we didn't agree to do anything
Okay.
with our discussion. So really nothing has changed. But just for discussion, my opinion was that we should have just stayed with the vote, with what we voted. And if you keep going at that and find another solution is what my preferred route would have been. But we didn't agree to just say we'll abstain if we don't have.
So all we're voting on is to amend last month's minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Sure.
So we have a second.
All in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
Against, okay, motion passes. Thank you, Laura. Okay, consent agenda is completed. Regular agenda, consider an act on the official ballot for the district's candidates for the Montgomery Central Appraisal Report. On page 17 through 32.
Question on that. What, we did that last month, I thought, to,
It was nominations last
it
month.
was nominations.
Last month was special districts only. We always have an election prior to the general election for the special districts. Arthur is the one that won the special district election, so now he's on the general ballot because he got the most votes.
Okay.
So now other people like the school district and the county and the cities are on, they call it the big ballot. Okay, Arthur is on that ballot now. Okay, so now we have to have another election for the, to seat 5 people.
Okay, so last month wasn't just a nomination. We were voting the 15 votes is what I thought.
Yes.
And we have another
But for
15.
him, for that one slot.
Right, right.
Yeah.
For Charles Shirley.
Right.
We have an attorney tonight. Oh, there he is. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, just to make sure I'm clear. So Arthur was voted in since the last meeting. We nominated Charlie Shirley, but we didn't vote him. We didn't
No,
give
but
Arthur.
he's on the ballot.
We voted the 15 last month for Charlie. The other MUDs, I guess overall, Arthur won the majority of the MUDs, but from the way I understand it, we voted 15 for Charlie, the other MUDs voted for Arthur. So Charlie got 15, Arthur got however many he got and so forth. And so we're basically doing the same thing again.
Well, but you have other, now you have the school district and the.
I mean, we can get up to 5 candidates too.
There's 5 candidates that have to be seated.
But we only have 15 votes, so it's kind of the same as last time, right? As far as who's not going to do anything, got 15 votes.
15 that,
It's the same.
it might be that one extra that pushes them over the top.
Confidence.
Yeah.
So how do you want to, how have the other MUDs been doing this? Just curious with
There's
this.
been a range of approaches, honestly. You can obviously allocate your votes however you'd like. Some have done, each director gets 2 votes. Some have just kind of agreed on a split based on preference. It really hasn't been a consistent way, so.
And are they generally trying to spread it across 5 candidates or sometimes just 1 or 2? You don't have to,
Yes, so
Vote for
far there's
5.
been,
or what,
I guess, 3 candidates that have received votes across the MUD meetings. 3. Mostly Arthur, but 2 other candidates got some votes. Like I said, some districts are saying each director gets a 5th of whatever it is, and then others have just said, well, let's just do a slate. That's how it's been in this part.
I'm open to whatever you guys want.
I don't see any reason to change. I like Charlie Shirley a lot.
I do too.
15.
we
I'll move
we
that
felt
we give
pretty,
it 15.
pretty strongly about that last
And
time.
he came.
Yeah.
We got these empty chairs here. I'm
So is there
good.
nobody else we want to, so, now we got to ask ourselves, I guess, is there any other candidate that you think, because there's 5 positions going to be filled, right?
All our eggs in one basket approach.
I mean, whoever the school district has nominated, they've got the biggest weight, so they're, strongly going to win whoever's on there.
But I will also tell you this, there's an interesting facet to the way this election works with regards to conservation and reclamation districts. Which is that now that we're in the general election, among the conservation and reclamation districts like yourselves, all of your votes will be counted by MCAD, and whoever among you, and only you, so not including the votes from the other stakeholders in this process, whoever gets the most votes from the conservation and reclamation districts will be aggregated all of the votes that were cast by the conservation and reclamation. So, for example, the conservation reclamation districts vote and your candidate gets the most votes. They'll take all the votes that all the other reclamation districts cast, regardless of who they cast them for, and will allocate them to Mr. Shirley.
So whoever wins the majority gets every vote.
Correct. And all, that's only of the conservation and reclamation district. So as you're saying, school boards, everybody else, their votes don't operate the same. They'll-
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that change the way we think about any of this as far as you're all concerned?
No,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll motion to nominate Charles Shirley to receive
I'll second.
15 votes.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay, motion passes. 15 for Mr. Shirley.
Yep.
That. Okay. All right, SJRA is not here. I guess, are there any, we can't ask them any questions. I don't know if anyone had any
I didn't see anything that,
concerns about their report, anything to ask them for.
Yeah, if so let me know and I'll convey that to them. They're at a conference.
I remember you said that last time. I have one question in general, and I think I know the answer, but when we look at and reason I ask this is that somebody was sharing maybe their water quality at their house, because they were gonna get a filter or water softener or whatever, and they said, is everyone's water quality kind of the same in the Woodlands around within our muds? And I said, well, it should be very similar. I said, we do get a blend of 50% water from the lake, surface water, and then 50% from groundwater. And then I thought, I said, like, is all of that blended the same across all of the muds, or all the water plants, I should say? Is there the numbers we look every month at with SJRA, all the water plants get the 50% allocation, or there's some that's a little bit higher, some lower? I know the mix is total. We see the total, but down at the water plant level, which would mean down to the neighborhood level or the development level, when people, do you know the answer to that?
I would say that every plant is probably not getting 50-50 across all plants.
Yeah.
But all plants combined are getting 50.
Right.
What each one's getting individually, I don't know. They probably. Be-
I'll save it for next time.
What I've noticed, and I don't notice the water so much because I take mine and mix it with diet soda. But when we have a break, let's say on research, some muds will be on 100% groundwater because the SJRA pipeline is not going east from there, like it happened when the break happened near Villa.
Yeah,
And-
research.
And I was talking to Chris Meeks and he was telling me that, there are some muds, just a few, that are gonna have to be on 100% groundwater while they fix that. And people can tell that difference. Isn't that something I can't? I've never. never
Sensitive.
noticed a difference.
Hmm.
So.
Yeah, people can usually tell the difference between surface water and groundwater. That's pretty common.
There, all these projects, I mean, this is all kind of running this course. They're all the
Yeah,
numbers
those
are
are just-
pretty typical.
Monthly updates on the active projects that are going on from them. Those are projects that came out of the 10-year plan that are the funded projects.
Yeah, so nothing abnormal there.
Anything else to chat about on the SJRA? Okay, we'll hold it for next month then. Item 11, receive the status of the Bear Branch Panther grants.
Yeah, no update
Drainage
tonight.
project. Mhm.
LJ is working on the update to identify the benefit of the project as instructed by the stakeholder meeting last about 45 days ago. So once that's complete, then we'll schedule a new stakeholder meeting and go from there, see what the next step is.
Any questions for Eric on that? Okay. Attorney's report?
The only thing I had to report, Brian let me know that at the most recent trustee meeting, he went through a bunch of legislative bills that are working their way through that process right now. So if any of you are interested, watching the video of the trustees meeting is a good place to start. I'll kind of caveat that with, they're still kind of early in the process, so some of the bills mentioned, might get cut completely and some might be amended pretty heavily. So.
Did any make it kind of out of committee that you do know that they may have said was either still in committee or
Not that word.
that you're aware of? There's a lot of them relating to our business, it seems,
There are.
right?
There are.
I don't know, that's
And there's one that
quite a few.
We're about one here in a few minutes that
Yeah.
we're involved in.
Okay. Anything else?
that's it.
Oh, we're good with Zoom tonight.
Mhm.
Anything on item 13, the 1488 development? Eric?
So, I believe that line item was the proposed deal that we talked about, months ago.
Yeah.
That deal is dead, so we can take this
The
off.
apartment.
Mhm. The progress on the other deal, is not dead, clearly, but there's, I guess we had the final inspection of the utilities on, yeah. So the public line extensions along 1488, have been put in. And, I think we've officially finalized that, or at least inspected it.
Last week.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So those utilities are in.
Is that utilities for the whole track?
No, just for that, I guess, eastern section to get that sports deal
Pickleball.
moving, yeah.
Okay.
My understanding is there would still be more to come to the west.
Have you heard if they've sold any other lots?
I have not heard that. I don't know. I don't know if they have or not. I know that the main one is that sports deal moving forward.
It might be that we're due for an update from Howard Hughes on that.
I can arrange that.
Just to drop in and give us an update on where they are.
Thank you.
That's,
That'd be
that's
great.
been helpful, I think, in the past.
Coming down Grogan's, they've certainly put up a lot of big green signs for sale, property for sale.
Yeah.
Notice that?
Yeah.
So something's happening. They probably want to move some land.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, once this is in the industry, this is kind of what happens is, once you start getting utilities in the region, then there's kind of it creates a synergy that kind of gets people, because they know that it's more imminent. They don't have to wait. They can kind of gauge their timeline on development.
Yeah.
If it's sitting there, you'll probably see, whatever leasable buildings on the existing track. It's not just the sports thing. Will probably go pretty quick, because utilities are available now.
Yeah.
Until they're available, it's just, no one really knows. But now it's gonna move, I think.
Yeah,
And it likely will spin or push folks to develop the other pieces to the west of this.
What happened to the apartment? Did you get any feedback on it, or they just kind of go quiet?
Yeah, we kept telling them that, capacity, basically all the different stories. And then they needed to eventually go to the township and Howard Hughes to look at the capacity as well. And that's kind of where it died.
So they still own the land though.
Well, that group never owned the land. They
Oh.
were just doing due diligence.
So the family still got.
They had a relationship with the owner
Right.
through some connection,
Got
I
it.
think, right?
Yeah, it's not going away. I mean, something built
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah, it's guaranteed. Okay, you want to roll into your report?
Okay, well, you should have hopefully seen a very different report.
so.
We've liked it. Kim and our staff have spent a lot of time redoing the report. I felt like we just weren't capturing and conveying a lot of things that we're doing day in, day out. So this gives us, number one, an opportunity to do that. And it also kind of cleans it up to follow, this line item, well, which districts does this relate to? Which districts does this relate to? And kind of in a more followable fashion, if you will. So if you have any pointers on how it might be better received, let us know and we'll fine tune it. But
I like the updated format.
good.
Yeah.
Also, there's some new building improvements, as you can see, immediately in front of you. We finally got the TVs installed, 2 TVs in here, obviously, and then 1 in the hall, outward facing with speakers that if, we had overflow, obviously we've got a small room, we could close the doors and still broadcast what's happening so you could see and hear if we needed to go to that route at some point. So that's the latest on the technology stuff. Although interior painting and you see the new pictures, those, that's pretty much done. Got a few minor things going on, but everything's pretty much in play. A couple of minor picture stuff upstairs. And one of the big things that's next that we are working on is building a customer interface, education interface here in the lobby, where we'll have examples of real meters and real fire hydrant and a real valve and a clean out. So people don't know what that is, on your sewer side. And what else? Examples of different types of pipe that we use in the water business, just so the folks can kind of come in here and read about, well, what is this and what is this and how does this apply to me? Because a lot of times we're on the phone with people and they're saying, hey, I've got a sewer issue. Well, have you loosened your clean out? Well, what is that? That type of example. So just an opportunity to educate folks better on kind of.
It would be great customer service if we let them know that there's a clean out that will relieve the waste because it pops open.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's my point.
Yeah.
And so there'll be a kind of, what I'm envisioning is we'll have like a little card in front of it that kind of explains what it is. So, yeah.
And where they can buy one.
Yeah.
That's the hard part is finding them.
The standard is just a white cap that's gonna keep the sewage in your house, you know, so.
You could have some Cub Scout. You could be show and tell.
Yeah.
Get the community in here.
Sure.
Cool to see how things work. That's a great idea.
Thank you. Update on the GRP meeting. I attended my first GRP as a committee member. As I indicated to all the MUDs last month, that I would be giving a report to the trustees, and I did that. And then that is documented, a summary of what was reported in your packet in the trustee summary. So a couple of highlights were James Corn was voted to be chair. I was voted to be vice chair of the committee. And then there was, you can kind of read it, but there was some pretty extensive discussion on a few things, some pretty significant things, quite frankly. But one of the things that I asked for on the next agenda was for all of the committee board or committee members to come to the next meeting with a summary of what their goals are for the GRP. Because if we're going to be rowing in the same direction, I want to know if we are or we aren't, and where the differences are. So I asked for that agenda item to be placed on the agenda.
Sure.
I also asked SRA if there's any objection from SRA to us utilizing the facility more than we are, because that's another issue that I know that's been a goal of ours. And their answer was no objection, just a hurdle with negotiations on the legal side of things. And once that gets cleaned up, I think that would at least open up some more ability to do some outside the box thinking on finding new members for surface water. So we'll see. And then obviously, I think you probably saw the article in the Courier on Conroe looking to settle. So I know that there's discussions in the background going on. So I also committed to meeting with Brad Houck on a regular basis. We have continued to do that. Kim and I have met him before the first meeting, and then since after we've met to go over the meeting and kind of go over the next meeting. I've also met with one of the other directors or the other committee members to talk about some ideas going forward as well, because there was some pretty controversial discussion that I've highlighted here in the trustee meeting that everybody should wake up to when the time's right. So that's an update on
And you're speaking there to probably the
the Lone Star stuff.
So
it's the infrastructure, not the use of the water, right?
So that's what Sarah believes.
That's what that organization believes, yes. And that's, wow.
The infrastructure line you're speaking of.
Yeah.
No, the wells.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Wells,
We have.
It's not infrastructure problem, or it is an infrastructure problem.
Well,
It's not an aquifer.
yeah, the aquifer's levels dropping is not an aquifer problem. It's the fact that your well's not
You just need
deep
to go
enough.
deeper.
Right.
Yeah,
And wells, you can't go deeper.
yeah, that was a gem.
You can't make a well deeper.
The question I wanted to ask is, where is James Corn from? Is he a
Oak Ridge.
Oak Ridge? Okay. All right, and so it is the GRP meeting that would have the recording of this discussion
Correct.
that you're speaking of.
And it's really not a GRP discussion. It just came out in that meeting because the other new member is a geologist and there was a real engaged
Who's the other new member
Ed
that's,
Slotnick from Montgomery County Mud.
was the rest of the GRP, was it full attendance?
Full attendance. And both seats were unanimously voted 6-0
Uh-huh.
for chair and vice chair.
Okay.
So
So I imagine the geologist had a little bit of a perspective on that.
big time. Got into a pretty intense discussion. And then it migrated to the infrastructure problem discussion. So again, that's really the aquifer discussion is not necessarily a GRP specific thing, other than obviously the GRP facility as a result of the aquifer, all of the aquifer tests and things and the original regulation and whatnot. So, I mean, it does tie in, but the current GRP plant that's in existence can't really push the mandate, the resultant of wells failing, which is ultimately what that comment means, is that it would push people to have to go to surface water or find some other alternative, like maybe drilling a deeper well.
Speaking of, I saw the Region H summary. Are there any big changes in that, or are we just going to continue with aquifers and the SJRA plant as it is today?
The SJP,
Yeah,
that's just
so the
regional.
Region H is the 5-year plan. Is there anything new coming down the pike is what I need to ask.
No, there was some extensive adjustments on water conservation planning and things like that. But the big thing that folks need to look out for is the GMA 14 final report, which is going to be, which relates to this aquifer discussion. Because the GMA 14 report which all of its members have to make a recommendation on their DFC, desired future condition, which right now is set so high that it is creating the aquifer to do what it's doing. When it was set a little lower, the aquifers were flattening or rebounding. So there's no one denying that. They're just saying not the aquifers.
Have they thrown out numbers of DFCs that you're talking about? Are they back down in the 60,000 range?
Oh, no. The idea with that board is to keep it high. Drill. But I don't, we have to look at what the proposal is. It was 64,000 acre feet years ago. That's what created the mandate. It's at 97,000 feet or 97,000 acre feet now. So I don't know if it's going to go up or down. We're going to dig into it, but they're going to be adopting that this summer or soon for this year.
Whatever's adopted is for 5 more
5
years.
years.
The planning cycle of 5 years.
So a lot of fun there. Next community working group meeting is set for April 2nd. We've had 2 meetings. First meeting was kind of organizational, if you will. Second one was to talk about the different responsibilities between SJRA, WWA, and MUDS. And then also talk about how things are funded, how projects are identified, and just kind of how the math works. Not talking about any projects at that point. This next one will probably get into some projects, specifically most of the projects in that report, which are the ongoing funded projects. And then we'll give a brief update on the AC and wastewater treatment plant from the standpoint that they're in analysis, and we don't know, until the MUDs know. Once the MUDs know, then more information can be kind of pushed out to that group. But until that comes, all we can say is they're in review. So we'll kind of go through that in the next CWG meeting. We're working on the content and the presentation for that right now. There is an All MUDs. Speaking of those projects, All MUDs meetings have been identified. Dates have been identified. April 1st be the first one, May 8th, and June 10th.
And if we can't make one, there'll be to be up to speed on what they're going to cover.
We're going to try to video them so that there'll be at least something, a resource that we can do. They don't have video equipment, so the meetings will be, all of those dates will be over at the community center across the street. And so we're working on trying to get it videoed, basically.
Eric, you said April 1, May 8, and June, what's the date?
10.
At what time?
We're likely pushing for about 5:30, excuse me.
Okay.
Yes, 5:30.
Okay, so it's after work. You don't have
Yes.
to take time
Somewhat
off.
after work,
Okay,
right.
all right. Okay.
And I think the first meeting was to talk about wastewater treatment plant condition assessment and some numbers, getting into meeting 2, some options, I guess, and then I think the matrix. And then meeting 3 is really just a kind of a final up on the treatment plant, and then I think they want to get into the AC stuff and bring HDR in for that, for the third meeting. And then if there's a fourth meeting needed, we'll assess that as we get into really probably by May,
How far in advance are we gonna get some data to look at before the meetings?
when it's available. And I think Ed was asked that question at the trustee meeting, and his answer was, as soon as it's available, we can get it to you. But you're gonna have 3 months to
Yeah.
dig through all of the data, so it won't be one and done go.
I hope they do get it to us at least a day before. It'll have a much more effective meeting.
I agree.
I mean, there's no reason why they can't make a deadline with.
Yeah, they're not creating it.
Yeah, this is your new deadline.
Yeah.
I mean,
And that's, we had a few days just to kind of absorb it, go through it.
Indeed, as Gordon mentioned earlier, and I did, I guess, I was in Austin at the Capitol yesterday, testified in opposition of House Bill 1335 with several colleagues from the water industry operations. 3 other individuals testified with me, and so we'll see. Look like it's kind of on the tracks already, but there may be some opportunity to maneuver some wording that might ease it a little bit better. But essentially, it would require that water and sewer, basically Class B utilities, be added to the 811 call center, state call center for utility locates. So it sounds really good on the surface, but there's a lot of ramifications. It's an unfunded mandate, certainly for the MUDs. It would obligate the MUDs to pay the 811 fee. It also, you would be responsible for doing all the locates, which likely would require more staff and equipment and trucks and everything else. So there's an expense there. Our biggest concern, and that was voiced, as you can imagine, the rural municipalities are really focused on funding and having people and funds to be able to do those things.
Yeah.
Whereas, some of our concern is SJRA used to be a member of 811 years ago, and it didn't reduce contractor hits on utilities. The whole goal is if they call 811 because they're about to dig, then Class A utilities, which is power, telecommunications, gas, et cetera, those, we call them dry utilities, they're required to go out and mark. You often see a guy walking around with a stick thing and then throwing, little flags or painting. That's a locator locating gas, all those. And those particular utilities are lined, the pipe itself is lined with a trace wire that is magnetic. We have plastic pipe with no trace wire. So we can't do that. What we have is drawings. And drawings have been uploaded into GIS. And so there was a lot of talk about, well, GIS, you got GIS. Well, GIS is only as good as the source data, which was a paper drawing at one point. We don't have GPS locates. We don't have trace wire. We don't know exactly where that pipe is. I mean, even as-builts are, within this much, whereas they can pinpoint exactly where their pipes are. So when we were having so much trouble a few years ago with fiber contractor, what we found to be more valuable than just by the way, on the 811 ticket that the contractor gets, there's a disclaimer at the bottom that says water sewer is not included in this. You need to call the water company to get your locates. Some do, some don't. It's what we experienced before. What we experienced with the contractor that was here years ago was what we found to work the best is if we would be able to have a meeting with them on site and talk through where things are. I mean, we generally can see certain above ground improvement things that give us some indication of where the line, if you kind of connect the, manhole,
Fire hydrant.
the line doesn't curve in between, on sewer, right? So theoretically there's a straight line. And then on water, you can see valves and generally, but again, water lines could maneuver a little bit. Point being, we just can't get it, exact. So, so anyway, we voiced some opposition to that. So I think and it's not a one sentence fix in terms of to fix our issues and rural's issues and the other, they're all different, vastly different issues. So I'm not sure if there's a easy fix on the wording, but what I'm gonna do is draft up some ideas on maybe they can do a variance for municipality size because they're proposing 1,100 connection utilities. And that ropes in just about everybody a lot. So, obviously, if we could get it above 10, we'd all be clear on it here, but that's a little big. So, I don't.
District by district.
District, yeah. Yeah, because you and 46 are, large.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but that's what we did
Is
yesterday.
that still in committee? Is that what that hearing was about?
It's in committee.
Within the committee hearing? Okay.
Yeah, the representative that filed it and all the committee members were there yesterday. But the committee member that filed it was Representative Stan Gerdes from, I believe, the Giddings area. And that region has been having a lot of very public water breaks and boil water notices and things due to some of this stuff. So it's real raw for them right now. And I get it. And I think, a lot of people that testified, we get the problem and we want to solve the problem. And that was I guess the big takeaway too, is we all want to figure out how to solve this, but the way it's written now is going to cause other side effects that are maybe worse, or in our opinion. So anyway, that's what we did yesterday. It was a long day.
Thanks for going.
We sat there for 4 hours before it was our turn to talk. So, but it was an interesting process. We do continue to work through the ditches and assessing them and collecting all the asset data, pipes and ditch assessment or condition. And we are going to start moving forward on some repairs that we've located. We kind of put them on hold for the first half of this fiscal year, until we kind of had an idea of what we were really seeing out in the ditches. And we've seen enough to know that there's some things we need to tackle now. So, and there was budget for it, and every mud, we put a little budget for it. So we're gonna go in and kind of do an initial identification of some of the more needed areas. There's some fairly big sinkholes across different districts and things that need to be addressed. So we're gonna be moving forward with that across different muds. So we'll start, and then also some of the meters that the MUDs approved in the budget this year. It was a 6-month turnaround to get them in, and now they're starting to come in. So you're going to start seeing some of those large commercial meters being being fitted for the AMI back meters. And I think with that, Tom's report.
Evening. Page 66 starts your report. So we're now in the second quarter of our strategic plan, focusing on water quality. We've transitioned from telling our story. So we'll see that reflected in our materials here for the next 3 months. You sent out an annual report a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to bring metrics on that forward next month. We start going to distribute that in a couple more ways. So we'll gather all that data and bring it back to you on how many people engaged with it. So far, it's looking really good. The open rate on the email is solid for sure, but I'll have a complete report on that next month. Page 67, nice little write-up on Eric's presentation with the Township Board. If you missed it, you can find it in the Hello Woodlands website. Township also distributed through their e-newsletter. A couple more pieces there on page 68. We had something in the Woodlands Community Magazine for the March-April edition on helping folks lower their water bill. And then we had a nice long piece in Woodlands Online on transparency surrounding the renewal effort, touting the project sheets and the additional information that's available through that dedicated website. So you can QR that there if you haven't seen that. Upcoming water bill ad is going to be on the fund irrigation schedule. It's getting that time of year. And excuse me, in our outreach calendar there at the bottom, I'll be out at the farmer's market again this Saturday. We'll be at the Township Emergency Response event on April 12th. And Eric has a couple upcoming speaking engagements as well, probably more than might be on the calendar. And, you know, with all these public events, please come out and join us. Any questions?
I did it in January. It was pretty fun.
That's right. Yeah, I missed that one, but you and
Yeah.
Tori were out there. Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you have some good engagements?
Yeah, it was good. It was a fun day.
Folks wanted to talk.
Yeah. We had to kind of get it to come in. We had to accost them a little
You
bit.
gotta entice them to come.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But after they got there, they did talk to us for a while. And, you know, most people don't know, you know, about Water Smart and some of the other programs. So it was kind of eye-opening to all of them.
Mhm. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Okay, item 15, we go to the trustee report. Anything? I think talked about a lot of it already.
Budget, yeah, there was a
Summary.
budget amendment for the acceptance of the excess funds from SGRA. And then a true up to WWA for the reserves resolution, and then a continuation at least through this fiscal year for Holloway's efforts on the water renewal.
On page 72, where you get the PEC, Shelley, this is probably for you. It says, oh, that was the PEC. Okay, sorry, I misread that. The PEC unanimously can recommend it. Okay, I thought that was the trustees, and that wasn't for the trustees. Never mind. Let me see if there's anything else there. The all mud meetings, the PEC, the GRP update.
Well, we're looking through that. Does Oak Ridge get their water from SJRA in part, or are they all well water?
They blend.
They blend, okay.
Yes, they last month they received 2.6 million in surface water.
Who manages the app when you get a notification of high water usage? No, who internally, because it's broken, the link's broken.
Well, it was this weekend as we did our software conversion.
Oh,
It's back
okay.
up now.
Okay,
but it's still being updated with all the back reads.
Okay.
From the weekend and such.
Congratulations on going live over the weekend. Big deal. Everything turned on this morning and on Monday, and it's still working, right?
It's been a madhouse.
I bet.
Training and different people in and out and helping and things going down and equipment failure and different stuff that aren't, that's unrelated, but doesn't help. So,
Vendor being responsive on breaks and fixing and things like
Yeah,
that.
they're here, right?
Yeah, I figured that
physically
they're
on
probably
site.
living with you, probably.
There's things to work through,
Yeah.
work out.
Okay.
This is billing software, right?
Mhm.
So, if you got this far and it hasn't crashed on you, you've done a really good job. You've done
It's been very stressful on our,
Yeah,
on our team,
not easy.
just trying to learn the new system and all that.
I think that's it. I think we've covered the trustee meeting pretty well. The Holloway contract was approved by the trustees to be extended for a 4-month period. Only last piece. Okay. And then we are going to break into, as you say, we're going to break into executive session?
Yes,
You got something you need to chat with us about?
yes.
Okay. So let's do that at 6:45.
And I'll need Kim.
Copy the recording now.